on in, come on in. Welcome to Aries Rose TV. Welcome to the Aries Rose Show. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose, and today bringing you sad news, especially to wrestling fans and those of us that grew up in the 80s and 90s. The legend, the titan, the wrestling icon, Hulk Hogan has passed away at the age of 71. When I tell you I am in shock when I saw that headline come through, I'm just thinking, what is really going on? Lost Malcolm Jamal Warner and then Ozzy Osbourne and now Hulk Hogan. I'm just kind of sitting here in a state of shock because none of those people were in my bingo card for passing away this year. I'll tell you, 2025 has been quite a year and it's only July. So come on in, get comfortable. We're going to talk a little bit about Hulk Hogan, his legacy, and where the wrestling world is right now, because it definitely would not be where it is right now if it was not for Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon. Those two made magic together and made wrestling what it is today, and he should definitely be remembered for his contributions because he was a pivotal part in many people's childhoods, and he probably inspired many of the wrestlers who are in wrestling today in some form or fashion, or maybe people who want to be in wrestling in the future because he was just that iconic. So we got to get in to talking about Hulk Hogan. Terry Bollea is his real name, but we're going to call him Hulk Hogan here because that's what he was known as. That's how he referred to himself. So that's how we're going to talk about him on the show. As you come in, you know the drill. If you have been on a live before, let me know if you are a returning Aries crew member by saying hashtag Aries crew in the comments. If you are a first time watcher, leave first time watcher in the comments. I'm going to give you a shout out for stopping by and spending part of your day here. If you're on Instagram, follow us there, Aries Rose TV, and we'll follow you back. Let us know you are from Instagram when you follow us, or let us know you are from YouTube when you follow us over on Instagram. YouTube has changed up their communities tab, so if you are a subscriber, you can talk back to me. You can leave discussion items, trends, topics you want me to cover on the show. On the communities tab, I use it pretty regularly, so go ahead and you go over there and check it out. Leave any questions. If there's topics you want me to discuss, I will definitely follow back up with you over there. Always appreciate conversation and dialogue with the Aries crew. And if you have a business or a service that you'd like to advertise on the channel, I will pin my business email in the description. Reach out and we will see if it is a good fit. And welcome everybody coming in on the live here. We are going to be getting started talking about Hulk Hogan here. I'm going to let you know right now, no Hulk slander will be allowed in here. Whether or not he was a good person, I'll leave that to your own personal judgment. But when somebody passed, especially on the same day, we're not going to insult them because he did do good things. He did leave behind a legacy. He helped people have careers like The Rock. Would not be who he is today without the Hulkster. So please be respectful for the fact somebody has lost their life. We really do appreciate that. But run up those comments. Otherwise, here we got a leaderboard. So the more you interact, the more comments, the higher up you go on the leaderboard. Welcome Clips Edits. Appreciate you being here. Now we're going to get into talking about what happened with Hulk Hogan. So let me know in the comments here, did you watch him back in the 80s and 90s in his heyday? If you watch wrestling, who is your favorite wrestler? And do you still watch wrestling today? And we want to see, we still have wrestling fans out there. And if Hulk Hogan was one of your favorites, if you are a wrestling fan. So let's get into this reporting from TMZ about the passing of Hulk Hogan. Wrestling legend Hulk Hogan has passed away at 71 years old. TMZ has learned. Medics were dispatched to the WWE's Icon's Clearwater, Florida home early Thursday morning, with operators stating it was regarding a, quote, cardiac arrest, end quote. A video of the scene outside Hogan's residence shows responders desperately trying to save his life as he was transported to an ambulance. In the clip, several paramedics appear to be conducting chest compressions as Hogan is wheeled to the emergency vehicle. Cops tell us officials responded to the call at 9:51 a.m. and Hogan was treated by Clearwater Fire and Rescue personnel before being taken to a nearby hospital. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. During a news conference Thursday afternoon, Clearwater Police um, Nate Burnside said, I think it's Major. Nate Burnside said Hulk died at 11:17 a.m. before adding there are, quote, no signs of foul play or suspicious activity, end quote. Just a few weeks ago, Hogan's wife Sky, whom he married September 2023, denied rumors he was in a coma, stating his heart was strong as he recovered from surgeries. We broke the story last month. There were rumblings. Hogan was on his quote, deathbed, end quote, but we were told at the time he was just dealing with symptoms of a neck procedure he underwent in May. Hulk-born Terry Jean Bollea transformed professional wrestling into a family entertainment sport, and he absolutely did that. Before Hulk, wrestling catered to a fairly narrow audience. Hulk's theatrics in the ring were magnetic for children and their parents, and it supercharged the sport. Hulk kickstarted a pop culture phenomenon with Hulkmania after defeating the Iron Sheik for the World Heavyweight Championship in 1984, a craze that never went away, and his signature bandana, handlebar mustache were often copied by fans in crowds for decades. In 1996, Hulk transformed himself from a hero to villain. He created the NWO. Let me know in the comments if you remember the NWO. Leave NWO in the comments if you were a fan or remember when that faction came out. He created New World Order and became Hollywood Hulk Hogan. It propelled him and professional wrestling to even more fame. Hogan had countless iconic performances, including a matchup against Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at Wrestlemania in 2002 and a face-off with Andre the Giant at Wrestlemania 3, and his memorable feuds with Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage. Hulk was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005. He was removed in 2015 after a scandal erupted over racist comments while he was being secretly and Gawker posted and Hulk subsequently sued, winning the lawsuit. Hulk was inducted a second time in the WWE Hall of Fame in 2020, this time as a member of the NWO. WWE released a statement on Hogan's death saying, quote, one of pop culture's most recognizable figures, Hulk helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 1980s, end quote. WWE extends its condolences to Hogan's family, friends, and fans. Hulk was the star of the 2024 Republican National Convention when he set the room ablaze with theatrics. Hulk had an amazingly successful movie career beginning in 1982 with Rocky 3. Who remembers him in Rocky 3? Let me know in the comments here if you remember him playing in that movie. Played the iconic character Thunder Lips. He also starred in No Holds Barred, Suburban Commando, and Mr. Nanny. And there's more. Hogan starred in the hit VH1 reality show Hogan Knows Best. Let me know if you remember Hogan Knows Best. I definitely watched that show. I like that show a lot. Comment Hogan Knows Best in the comments if you watched that too. With his family, Linda, Nick, and Brooke. What's amazing about Hulk is he had scores of surgeries as a result of wrestling injuries. He told Harvey during a taping of Objectified he had no original body parts left. The last time we spoke to Hulk was back in May, and he was launching Real American Freestyle, an amateur wrestling league. First event is August 30th on Fox Nation. May he rest in peace. I'm going to pause for some comments here. Luis Miguel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. CR7 Edits, welcome. Appreciate you. Pamela Grady, welcome. Mick Swagger, welcome. And let's see, Mick Swagger say, I liked Hulk as a wrestler, not personal opinions on life, not so much. That's fair. I feel like in the time he came out, he was just elevated as this larger than life figure, and he was just almost not even really human. He was a superhero, if you will, and that just was kind of in a human body, kind of like a Superman thing. He just seemed to be something other, and you just put those people on such a high pedestal, and it's hard when you realize that they're human and they use human language and they say things that may not fit up to the standards that we work them up to be in our minds. So when those two clash, it's definitely not a fun experience. But the older I get, the more I realize that these celebrities, these legends, these icons, they are human and they're going to have human moments and they're going to do human things because nobody is perfect. But I feel like today, especially, it should be focused on his accomplishments and what he meant to the wrestling world. So I watched wrestling all the time as a kid, and I grew up watching him, Randy Macho Man Savage, Andre the Giant, Roddy Piper, all of those old school guys, Ultimate Warrior, Bret the Hitman Hart. That's more my favorite time of wrestling myself because that's what I grew up with, and I think that they're the best. To me, that's the standard. I do watch wrestling now. I do watch Netflix on. I do watch Raw on Netflix, and ironically enough, it was because of Hulk Hogan being on there and getting booed when that debuted in January that like kind of reintroduced me to watching that show all the way through. And it was also the Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon documentary, Jake the Snake Robinson. I can't believe I forgot him. Jake the Snake Robinson was the best when he come bring out that snake. He always had a snake. Was it a python wrapped around him all the time? That was too much for me. I couldn't even be in the same room with him. I am not a snake fan, but yeah, he was awesome. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, same. Keep them coming. I cannot remember all the names of everybody. Some have stuck, some have kind of faded over time until I see something with them, like Rick Rude. I really liked him a lot. He was a good time. A ravishing Rick Rude. Let me know if you guys remember him in there. But Hulk Hogan definitely set the standard for what it is today. Him and Vince McMahon took a very niche sport to go watch in person and put it on TV and went into the homes of millions of people and millions of kids, and that changed everything from there. And I don't think any other wrestler could have carried that on their back other than Hulk Hogan. So everybody who's made a career out of wrestling since he's been there, maybe outside of Ric Flair, because Ric Flair has been around for a long time. I want to say he was around before Hulk Hogan. He had been doing wrestling before him. But and Ric Flair's still hanging in there, and God bless him. Let's hope he can live a nice long life. And but Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan, they were magic together for what Vince McMahon's ideas and how I guess he's seen the persona and the character of Hulk Hogan. To me, the man Terry Bollea was probably flawed, but Hulk Hogan is still a superhero and I still hold him up in a high esteem. I'm separating the man from the character because he really did build that character up. And he was looked at as an icon, and I think he always will be. You can never talk about professional wrestling without mentioning Vince McMahon. I don't care what lawsuits, if he's no longer the head of WWE, that's fine. It will never take away what he built and put into that business that made it what it is today. They are forever cemented in that legacy period, as far as I'm concerned. It would not exist without the two of them. I don't think any other wrestler could have broke through the way that Hulk did. And there were others that were there, but nobody had the same thing as this person. He had the je ne sais quoi, as they say. That's just what it was. Some people got it, some people don't. And he had it. And he kind of crawled, as they say, so that The Rock could run. The Rock would not be who he is today if it wasn't for Hulk laying the foundation for going out and doing movies as a wrestler, for making wrestling mainstream so it was acceptable in homes where it wasn't thought of as like just some guy sport on Friday, Saturday night that just wanted to see people get beat up. It wasn't looked at that way anymore. It was looked at as entertainment, and they found ways to mix it in with music. So when you watch that Mr. McMahon documentary, if you've been a hardcore wrestling fan, you probably didn't learn anything new you maybe didn't already know. But me, I only watched it till about the early 90s. And once it went into the Attitude Era, I realized that was made for guys. That was not geared towards me. So that's when they kind of lost me. It was not my thing. I don't want to see girls in bikinis or doing all of that. I don't want to see all of that. So that wasn't my time. So I went ahead and tuned right on out. But, some of those stars broke through, like The Rock or John Cena or DX. Everybody was going around doing the whole little suck it. So that kind of made its way outside of there. But outside of that, I wasn't really watching wrestling like that. But when that Mr. McMahon documentary came out and then Netflix had Raw on there, I started watching it again. And I'm falling back in love with wrestling. It's a little different watching it older because you know things you didn't know when you were a kid. So I don't see it in the same way, but it's still fun. It's still entertaining. And Mick Swagger, you're right. You can't tell the story of wrestling without either one of them. And in later years, he did have some controversy and he did make some comments that I'm not a fan of. It was very disappointing. It was kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of soul crushing when you're like, oh, I kind of expected you to be like this and you're like that. And that's so disappointing because I don't want to put you in that bucket over here. Like, what happened? But outside of that, I do think he really he really meant something to the way that we perceive that sport as being a legitimate sport and not just some kind of like sideshow fun thing that you watch, on a in some back alley kind of place or in some random clubhouse or something like that. So, I mean, for being able to take a sport from that kind of world and put it onto television and then from there grow to pay-per-view, which really isn't as big of a thing now, but at that time it was huge. If you can be such a big draw that people will pay in addition to what they already pay for cable to watch your show, like that to me is big. And that a lot of that was him and the crossover they did with like MTV at the time in the 80s when WrestleMania was brand new. Now it's an institution, but at that time when Vince McMahon came up with it, there was nothing like that and they needed to make it a big deal. And those two figured out great marketing ways to make it a big deal by incorporating Mr. T and Cyndi Lauper, who at the time were huge names, and seeing them involved in that, it gave it some legitimacy that maybe wrestling didn't always have before. So, very sad day. I don't know what's going on in the universe here, but I know 71 is a good age, but I just was not expecting him to pass. And knowing that, it was a little bit sad that he got booed in January at the debut of Netflix or Raw on Netflix there. But it's also understandable because you do got to be accountable to the stuff that you say and you can't control how that's going to make people feel. And I'm sure there were a lot of people that just can't get over that because he said it and he probably meant it. And if it never would have come out, I don't know that he would have ever kind of addressed it. It just kind of would have been what it was. But the fact that it was taped and it did get leaked out there, it was something you couldn't get around. But I guess when he went into the locker room in the WWE to kind of do an apology after that situation happened, it didn't come off as a sincere apology about doing that. So that really bothers me because if you didn't care about making those kind of insensitive comments, I don't like that so much. But the character of Hulk Hogan is who I want to hold on to. I'm going to give Terry Bollea the man a pass because nobody is perfect. And if you look in everybody's closet, I'm sure there is something you don't want them to see, or you've said things that you wouldn't want the whole world to know because it doesn't paint you in the best light. So I don't think that should be his whole legacy or how people should lead or just leave it there because he was so much more than just that. And it was really cool to see his family on television because that's kind of how he came back into my radar was when he did Hogan Knows Best. And his family, I felt like they were very entertaining. It was fun to watch. He had this super conservative vibe, which I thought, oh, I would have expected him to be a little bit more fun and not as particular, but he was super strict, especially with his daughter Brooke. But I thought they had such a cute relationship. So knowing that things have deteriorated over time, or do you guys remember earlier this year, I believe his ex-wife Linda had went on and like did some kind of rant talking about her relationship with her daughter Brooke, and she had brought Hulk up and I'm sure Linda's experiencing some strong emotions right now because whether or not they were married, or whether or not they were married at the time of his passing, they had been married for a long time and shared two kids together. And every day isn't going to be rainbows and sunshine. You're not going to have great days all the time, but And see, TX, I disagree with you. Hulkamania is not dead. The person is no longer with us, but Hulkamania lives on beyond him. It's in every single person who was a fan, who he inspired and motivated, whether you were a kid or adult. That is a movement that doesn't go away just with the person who was leading it. I still believe that that's there. There's always going to be Hulk fans. There's always going to be people who are going to want to know more about him, buy his merchandise, be involved in things, and this may even put his wrestling league that he was doing, the Real American Professional Wrestling, I think is what it's called. That's probably going to catapult that in a way it wouldn't have before, because his name is going to be out here more, and that's just going to draw more interest because you're going to be talking about that more. So I think Hulkamania in some form or fashion will continue always past him being around, because he is just that iconic. Just like if Vince McMahon passes, which I hope does not happen for a long time, that wrestling doesn't go away with him. What he created is stays, and it's going to continue beyond that, because when you create something that's bigger than yourself, it will keep going. It will find a way to keep going. Mick Swagger, I think a movie is definitely coming. Let me know who you guys think would be a good person to play Hulk Hogan. I don't even know who I think could play him. But drop some names in the comments here. Let me know who you think could play good Hulk Hogan if they do a movie on his life, which I hope they do. Just watching that Mr. McMahon documentary kind of gave me some more background on what was going on in wrestling and what was going on behind the scenes. Some of those things I had no idea about. Now, later on, I knew Bret the Hitman Hart pretty much had beef with a lot of people. He has something to say about everybody. And I think him and Hulk had a little bit of a tense relationship. But outside of that, some of those other things I didn't know was going on there. So it was cool to hear a little bit about the history on that. He talked about the trial for steroids that he went through with Vince McMahon. And it's just really cool because those two, peanut butter and jelly, you can't really talk about one without the other. They were definitely integral to each other becoming superstars and larger than life. Definitely a sad day in the wrestling world for sure. My condolences go out to Linda, Brooke, his son, Chris Hemsworth playing the Hulk. Okay. That he was not at all on my radar for, but I could see that. There's some potential there. There's some potential there. I don't think that there's anybody that has the same charisma as him. I agree with you on that. And don't get me wrong, the Hulk, not the Hulk, the Rock is great. Roman Reigns, great, but nobody fits the same persona that Hulk Hogan had. He could be like, I don't know, he came off like a titan, like a Zeus like godlike character, but then he also was kind of like your dad or your uncle or your brother. Like he had a down to earth vibe while also being larger than life, and nobody just quite ever had that same mix in the same way that he does. I don't even really know of anybody that looks physically enough like him where I was like, okay, I could buy you being in that role. But I hope when they do the movie, they do it with care, because he means a lot to a lot of people, good, bad, or ugly. So when you do a movie on his life, I hope they put a lot of care and time into it. But yeah, definitely condolences out to his children, his wife, his current wife. Very sad, sad day into the wrestling world and all his wrestling fans, kids who grew up with him, people who introduced their kids to him, to all of us who grew up taking our vitamins and had the Hulk toys that, just seeing him as one of the coolest things ever. Sad day for all of us. Let me know your thoughts on the passing of Hulk Hogan here. Comments, we definitely want to keep the conversation going. We go live every weeknight here on Aries Rose TV. Make sure, if you have not already done so, you have subscribed to the channel. We'd absolutely love to have you a part of the Aries crew. It's free to join. You have fun over here, and then just hit that notification bell so you can find out every time we go live, post videos, post on the community page, and all of that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, hold on. The charisma of his generation is unmatched. Oh, TX, you're speaking my language. We're going to hang on here a little bit longer because I'm loving the combo here. You are absolutely right. If you weren't around in the 80s and 90s, I'm sorry, you missed out. The icons we had at that time were unmatched. And you just named top three right there. I'd even throw in Jean-Claude Van Damme myself, because I just kind of see them all in the same world. Hulk Hogan, period. That charisma, smile when he hit this and he's doing that, like, please. And he hit the little pose right there. That was it. That was it. He could set off, especially when he ripped off the shirt. He could just set the crowd off screaming and hollering. Period. Sylvester Stallone was the man. Was the man at that time. You see them now and they're older, so you just don't have that same point of reference. But if you grew up at that time, you knew those guys were ripped. So I don't know if they were hitting the gym or hitting something else, but they definitely ripped, always playing like guys roles. And then you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, same thing. And I put Jean-Claude Van Damme right on up there. He had the smile. Jean-Claude Van Damme really didn't have to talk. He had the smile that could just set the room off right there. Yeah, but growing up with them, for sure, different, just a whole different type of people that came out of that time. And I don't know if it's because there wasn't social media, so you had to really have people skills. You had to truly know how to connect with people in a live, they were live audiences. You had to make people like you, want to see what you're doing, be invested in you. And those guys just knew how to do that. Definitely a different time, a different care that was put into developing a relationship with your fans. And that's why those names are still respected to this day. I think some of the newer people, they're going to come and go and you're going to forget their names, but it's big dogs like this that will always survive over time. It was the peak of entertainment, period. Agreed. Peak of entertainment in all ways. So definitely a good reminder. You just don't know how much time you have. Try and do as much as you can to live life to the fullest as best you can. And I just kind of always look at things like, if I was told I only had a certain amount of time to live, how would I want to spend my time? What would I want to do? And I try and incorporate some of those things in as much as possible, because you don't know if you're going to have 10 years from now, or let alone 5 minutes from this moment. So as best you can, prioritize yourself, your health. Try and do whatever you got to do to make yourself happy and to enjoy life. And if that, you got to go take a walk, change your diet, whatever that may be, that will make life better and happier for you, definitely do it, because there may be a time where you can't make those changes, or you just don't have that opportunity at all because you're no longer here. So do what you can while you're here. Tell people you love them, who you care about. Try to make amends where you can. And if it's not going to work, bless their hearts. You go about your way, they go on their way, and just try not to have any negativity or stress, because it's just not worth it at the end of the day. I definitely appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much for coming by the show. Mick Swagger and TX, I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you're part of the Aries crew. Love to have you guys here. We'll be back on Friday night, so make sure you catch the show. And hopefully we have no other news about somebody else passing between Malcolm Jamal Warner, Ozzy Osbourne, and Hulk Hogan. I need a break. I need a break from the sadness, please. So look forward to seeing you guys later. Thank you for watching, and have a good rest of your morning, day, morning, afternoon, evening, whichever time you're watching. Take care.